Okay, today we're tackling a massive challenge for businesses. How do you use all this incredible AI without losing control of your most valuable data? Well, the answer is something called private AI, and we're going to break down exactly what that means and why it's such a big deal. So, let's start with the big question, the one that's probably on the mind of a lot of business leaders. You see all these amazing AI breakthroughs happening like every single day, right? But for most companies, trying to actually use that tech, it feels almost impossible. So, what's getting in the way? What's the big roadblock here? Well, it really boils down to this thing called the enterprise AI dilemma. You've got this huge gap, right? On one side, there's the incredible promise of what AI can do, but on the other, you have the day-to-day reality of needing to keep your business secure. And this slide really gets to the heart of it. You've got public AI, right? It's amazing stuff, super easy to access, always on the cutting edge. But here's the catch. If you're a company that handles any kind of sensitive information, using those public platforms is just a massive risk. We're talking data security, compliance nightmares, infrastructure headaches. For a lot of businesses, it's a complete non-starter. So, when you strip everything else away, what's the real issue here? It's one word: control. That's it. Businesses have to find a way to use all this amazing AI without letting their most precious asset, their own data, out of their sight. They need to keep it all in-house in a secure environment. They need total 100% control. And that need, that absolute demand for control, is exactly where the solution comes in. It's an approach that's really starting to take off, and it's called private AI. So, what are we really talking about when we say private AI infrastructure? Look, it's way more than just a buzzword for privacy. Think of it like this. It's about building your own secure private fortress for your AI. It's a dedicated home where your AI models live and run, completely inside your own digital walls. That way, you and only you have complete authority over your data. Okay, that sounds great in theory, right? But how does it actually work? What goes into building one of these private AI environments? Well, let's peel back the layers and take a look inside what we can call the AI cloud. So you have to think of this as a complete stack, with each layer building on the last. At the very bottom, the foundation, you've got the raw power, the GPU infrastructure. You've heard of GPUs. These things are the absolute workhorses, the muscle needed for all those heavy-duty AI calculations. Then, on top of that muscle, you layer on the brains, the hosting environment where your actual AI and large language models live. Then you wrap all of that in a scalable cloud architecture so it can grow with you. And finally, at the very top, you have the tools your team actually interacts with, the applications and APIs. And when you put all of that together, what you get isn't just another piece of software. It's a complete private ecosystem for your AI, a walled garden, if you will, that is 100% under your company's control. All right, so we've talked about the why, the need for control, and we've talked about the how, that tech stack. Now let's get to the really fun part, the what. What can you actually do with this kind of private infrastructure? What kind of cool new capabilities does it suddenly put on the table? Okay, once you have a platform like this, the game totally changes. Suddenly you can deploy your own private large language models that are trained on your company's data, which makes them smarter and way more relevant to your business. You can build internal AI assistants that actually get the nuances of how your company works. You can securely plug AI into all your existing tools using APIs. And of course, you have all that high-performance GPU power to scale up and tackle pretty much any AI workload you can think of. But here's the real magic, the big payoff. For the very first time, this setup lets a company safely tap into the incredible value that's been locked away in its most sensitive data. All those insights, those new efficiencies, those game-changing innovations, they're finally within reach. And the best part? You can get to them without all the risk. And just think about where this can be used. Take banking and finance, for example. In an industry where security and compliance aren't just important, they're everything, a private AI setup is an absolute must-have. We're talking about running super sophisticated fraud detection models or doing real-time market analysis on proprietary data, all in-house. Or what about healthcare and research? Imagine being able to analyze incredibly sensitive patient data or your own secret research in a totally secure environment. You could potentially speed up medical breakthroughs, all while making sure that patient privacy is completely protected. It's a game changer. And look, this isn't just for a couple of industries. It really goes across the board.
You've got tech companies trying to protect their secret sauce, their intellectual property. You've got government agencies that need to work with classified info. The specific use case might change, but that core need for control, that's totally universal.
So, as we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom out for a second. What does this all mean for the future? Well, it signals a pretty huge shift in how businesses really need to think about their technology strategy from the ground up. The next big leap in AI isn't just going to be about who can build the smartest model. It's going to be about engineering the infrastructure behind AI. It's about building the solid foundation, the systems that let you use these powerful models safely and effectively. It's not the most glamorous part, but it's like the plumbing in a skyscraper. Without it, nothing else works. And that really leaves us with one last big question to chew on. We always hear that data is the new oil. Well, if that's true, then is owning and controlling your own AI infrastructure becoming the ultimate competitive advantage? Maybe the most important one a company can have. It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.